Elias Blackwood wasn't always a monster. He was a man of science, a man obsessed with the elusive key to eternal life. He pored over ancient texts, deciphered forgotten languages, driven by a fear of the inevitable death. His sprawling estate, Blackwood Manor, became his laboratory, his sanctuary, and ultimately his tomb. He started small, experimenting on animals, pushing the boundaries of life and death. His methods grew increasingly unorthodox. Whispers began to circulate in the nearby village. They spoke of strange lights, chilling screams echoing from the manor, and livestock disappearing without a trace. But Elias was insulated by his wealth and influence, dismissing the rumours as the ramblings of superstitious peasants. His research led him down a dark path, a path paved with forbidden knowledge and fueled by a desperate hunger for immortality. He discovered ancient rituals that spoke of consuming the life force of others to prolong one's own. He told himself it was for the greater good, a necessary sacrifice for the advancement of science. But the truth was, the whispers were right. Blackwood Manor was becoming a place of unspeakable horrors. His first human subject was a servant, a young woman named Eliza. He convinced her it was a new form of medicine, a way to extend her life. The ritual was agonizing, a grotesque parody of life itself. Eliza's screams echoed through the manor, but Elias pressed on, his obsession blinding him to the horror of his actions. He felt a surge of power, a fleeting sense of vitality, but it quickly faded, leaving him craving more. He moved on to his family, his wife, his children. He told them it was a blessing, a way to stay together forever. They trusted him, they shouldn't have. The manor became a charnel house, the air thick with the stench of death and dark magic. With each stolen life, Elias grew stronger, but also less human. The man he once was withered away, replaced by something cold, something monstrous. But the ritual had an unforeseen consequence. It didn't grant him true immortality, but a twisted, tethered existence. He became bound to the manor, his life force inextricably linked to its decaying walls. He couldn't leave, and neither could his victims. They were all trapped, forever bound to Blackwood Manor, their tormented souls fueling his unnatural existence. The house clawed at the sky, its silhouette a jagged tooth against the bruised purple of the twilight. They called it Blackwood Manor, and the locals whispered that it wasn't just haunted but hungry. Tonight, 4 teenagers, fueled by bravado and cheap beer, ignored the whispers. They were going to spend the night. They'd planned it like some twisted slumber party. Flashlights, sleeping bags, a portable speaker for ghost hunting anthems. They'd even brought a Ouija board, giggling nervously as they laid it out on the dusty floor of the main hall. The air was thick, heavy with the scent of decay and something else, something metallic like old blood. The first few hours were uneventful, punctuated by jump scares and nervous laughter. Then the temperature plummeted. Their breath plumed out in white clouds, even though it was a mild summer night. The laughter died. A scratching started in the walls, like rats, but bigger, much bigger. It sounded like something was dragging heavy chains. The scratching grew closer, circling them. Then the lights flickered and died, plunging them into absolute darkness. Panic seized them. They fumbled for their flashlights, their beams cutting through the black, revealing nothing but swirling dust motes. Then a whisper, close to their ears, a raspy voice that sounded like dry leaves skittering across pavement. "You shouldn't have come," one of the girls screamed. Something brushed her arm, cold and clammy. She recoiled, her flashlight beam catching something. A fleeting glimpse of pale skin stretched taut over bone, eyes that glowed with an unholy red light. Then it was gone. But it wasn't just gone, it was inside her. The touch, the whisper, it wasn't just a scare tactic, it was an infusion. A sliver of Elias's corrupted soul, a seed of his dark magic had been planted within her. The scratching intensified, the walls seeming to breathe inward. From the shadows, shapes began to emerge. Not distinct figures, but amorphous blobs of darkness that shifted and writhed, their edges blurring into the gloom. They smelled of rot and despair. The Ouija board, forgotten until now, began to move. The planchette skittered across the letters, spelling out words in the oppressive silence. "Get out." They didn't need to be told twice. They scrambled for the front door, but it was jammed. The windows were sealed shut. They were trapped. The shapes were closer now, their whispers louder, morphing into guttural growls. One of the boys, his face pale and slick with sweat, turned to face the darkness. He screamed, a raw, animalistic sound that was cut short with a sickening crunch. The others didn't look back. They ran, stumbling through the darkness, the growls and the scratching at their heels. They could feel the cold breath of the things behind them, their fingers brushing against their skin. One by one they were dragged into the darkness. Their screams echoed through the house, growing fainter and fainter until they were swallowed by the silence. The house stood on the hill, silent once more. The moon emerged from behind the clouds, bathing the manor in its eerie light. Inside, the Ouija board lay still. The planchette rested on a single word, home. It wasn't just Elias's home, it was becoming theirs. The girl who felt the touch, the one with the seed of dark magic planted within her, she wouldn't die. She would become a new vessel, a conduit for Elias's power, forever bound to Blackwood Manor, perpetuating the cycle of horror. The house wasn't just hungry, it was building an army.